The unexpected 3:30 p.m. wasn't the first warning sign, operations invitation to a meeting. Specifically, I wasn't on the list of attendees for the all-hands summit on Friday. No Zoom link, no calendar block, no, I was just checking my manager's email. That kind of stillness after 8 years is more loud than any layoff declaration. They didn't even act concerned when I entered the meeting room. 3 individuals: Angela from HR, Rick from finance, and an unidentified young man who appeared to have just left a boot camp for data science. There is already a printed envelope, no greeting, and no water, like a death notice for my career on the table. Angela began. "Mandy," tone flat, eyes running off. "Your years of service are greatly appreciated, but because of cost-cutting measures," Rick interrupted, folding his hands as if he were trying out for a part as a corporate villain, "we've made the tough choice to promptly remove you from your post." Remove? As if I were an expense line, an ongoing cost, a breach of their valuable balance sheet. I refrained from crying, didn't question the severance or dispute. I simply glanced at the intern, but did you even look at the accounts I manage? Rick blinked as he struggled to decide where to put his hands. It wasn't personal, purely monetary. This will save us $150,000, just a quarter. That's a victory. A victory. In my hand, the envelope felt warm. I hadn't even opened it yet, but the sting of betrayal was already building in my chest. 8 years, running client calls, sacrificing holiday weekends for quarterly closing, and 8 years of red-eye flights from airport restrooms and emergency rooms, making their top accounts feel heard, seen, and valued for 8 years, recognized in a manner that their gleaming CRM dashboards were never able to. And suddenly, I was only a way to cut costs. With my back straight, my badge deactivated, and an odd hush resonating about me as though I'd already left the building without a trace. However, it wasn't until I got to the lobby and heard them that the main punch came. Loud, unrestrained, open-mouthed laughter in the break room. To Rick, "Cheers!" someone yelled. One signature saved the company $150,000. Then another person said, "Mandy will be all right." She always seemed like the kind of person who liked yoga and journalism. She'll probably start a podcast or something. I stood there for 5 seconds too long. More laughs. Long enough to imagine smacking the manila envelope across Rick's arrogant face as he walked back in. However, since I already had what I required, I didn't. Rick didn't realize that none of them were aware that they had just fired the throwaway employee. She was the accounts, not only the manager of 38 high-value accounts. Every upsell, renewal, and out-of-scope request is addressed personally. I had been the silent glue that kept those contracts together. Text, not a help ticket. Client retention, all of it. Renewal strategy. Connection architecture, and within that envelope, stapled behind my last present, was the client matrix, which included a generic NDA and a templated HR script, the one I created, the one that only I could decipher, which enumerated each contract, billing rhythm, escalation history, personality note, and soft exit signal. It was more than just statistics. It was a map of loyalty gaps, pressure points, and they didn't even realize they should be afraid of the decision-makers. And to make matters worse, they had stapled it straight into the termination documents. No watermark, no redactions, no hint. They continued to rely on me as though I were merely an administrator clearing out back-end reports, rather than the person who created the system. I sat in my car, still in the parking garage, instead of going straight home. Like the aftermath of a silent explosion, the envelope spread open across the passenger seat, and I grinned. Not because I had a strategy yet, but because when someone gives, you wait instead of screaming when I give you a loaded weapon that is wrapped in legalese and printed on recycled paper. Examine the matrix's first tab, Q4 Atricisk customers, and the Needs tab next to it. Weekly check-ins. Last month, he lost his father. Mandy is the only person he responds to. Rick was unaware of the note I had penned 3 weeks prior, but he would. This wasn't. This was retaliation. I had 48 hours before they even saw the cracks, which gave me enough time to determine where first. Of all, I didn't sleep that night, not because I was upset or depressed, simply silence. That uncanny quiet that descends upon you when you discover you're recalculating rather than panicking when your world starts to tilt. I opened my laptop at 2:42 a.m. and navigated to a folder called Client Continuity that I hadn't viewed in months. It wasn't. I owned the company's notes, reminders, draft emails, and relationships audits. I had been doing so out of habit, in part for insurance and in part because I never had faith that anybody else would take the time to recall the small significant details, such as how Jessica W. due to a strange superstition, Langley only signs contracts on Thursdays, or how Busky Energy's Michael C. won't interact with anyone who utilizes bullet points rather than numbered lists. Perhaps petty, but those peculiarities were what kept them together. I had time now, so I took out a genuine notepad, paper, and ink, and began listing names, people I'd built, not clients or contracts, trust with, as well as those they had given to Connor in sales, the same individual who once questioned me during a meeting about what client sentiment meant. By dawn, the list had 19 names on it, each one labeled with 3 columns. Personal tie, how likely they were to renew. Stability, how likely they were to. They had a strong bond with me. What may cause them to walk? We haven't heard from you in a long time, but I hope you're still our point of contact. Some have left subtle hints in recent weeks. Contact. I went for a walk that morning, but nobody informed them that I wasn't. I listened to the breeze blowing through the trees, observed a neighbor planting mums, and strolled around my street. Calm. As only compelled silence can be, I returned inside, brewed black coffee, opened my laptop, and began writing the initial message. Not a single pitch, not even a trace of convincing. Simply say, "Hey Tony, I hope all is well with you. Amid the tumult of Q4, I just wanted to express that dealing with you over the years has been enjoyable. Things are now different. On my end, but I continue to support your team. Be careful and keep in contact. Mandy, just the gentle creak of a door. No forwarding address, no company branding, being exposed." That's how I sent 5 variations. Various names, distinct touches, all sincere and genuine. I waited after that. As the afternoon wore on, the initial response was received. "Hold on, what do you mean by